some concern. And if you think that you have something which fits into that category, you'd like to find out how you can be a part of the program, well, why don't you drop us a line? Address it to the Let's Talk program in K.O. Vaughan Radio, P.O. Box 195, Charlestown in Levis. Or give us a call. Our numbers are 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. And by the way, those will be the numbers you'll use to be a part of this evening's discussion. Again, thank you all very much for joining us. This is your voice in the community, thought that get results. With regard to your participation in the show, we encourage you to call in on the numbers instead, 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. Here's a suggestion. You have a question or comment, perhaps you can get a pencil, piece of paper, write it down so that you're well organized, and when you're getting on the show, you take as little time as possible so that we can accommodate as many of you as we can. We ask only, first of all, you respect yourselves and then respect others, because we will not accept anything we deem that's not within our broadcast standards. But we encourage you to always be forceful with your point. Thank you all again. Your voice in the community, thought that get results. Tonight, Roger Fifield, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo, and good evening to my fellow panelists, and of course those who are viewing and those who are listening near and far. Well, I just want to send out some greetings to some persons who are sick. Our very own Naya. I happened to be visiting someone in the hospital yesterday and I met him there, so I want to say good evening, Naya. Get well soon. You know, sure persons, you know, would want to know that you are back on the Let's Talk program. Also want to say, moving on to the something more positive, to say congratulations and happy anniversary to our Premier, Dr. the Honorable Mark Brantley and Mrs. Brantley. From what I gather, they are celebrating 30 years of wedding bliss. I also want to maybe take it a little more personal, Webbo. I think that I can say that my own marriage is now turned adult, you know, so it's 18 years, you know, we celebrated yesterday, my wife and I, so I want to say congratulations to her, you know, for being there for me throughout the years. And Webbo, my daughter, she's celebrating this today, and I want to say special congratulations to her. She sat 6 CAPE subjects and passed all 6, so congratulations, Anila. And I also want to say congratulations to my son Rejon. He sat 10 CSEC examination and passed all 10, so congratulations, Rejon, Anila, we are proud of you. So I just want to say once again, Webbo, I'm happy that you would have invited me here this evening, and I'm looking forward for a fruitful discussion this evening, Webbo. Thank you once again.
The Honorable Spencer Brand, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo, and a very pleasant good evening to my fellow panelists, Roger Fifield. Let me offer my condolence, my congratulations to you on your 18th wedding anniversary. You say you are an adult now, but congratulations. Webbo, I want to thank you for the invitation tonight. It's been a while since we've been here. You know, a lot has been happening. Culturama 50 is now in the annals of our history, and I hope that we can perhaps take a short look at that. But Webbo, I want to start by offering some condolences to the family of Mr. Henry Hennis there in Stony Grove. Henry, in my mind, was one of those quintessential villager of Stony Grove, quiet, hard-working fisherman, and he lost his wife recently, and I believe that the family is now getting almost a double whammy, so to speak, from the loss of Henry. I want to, from this rostrum, offer my deepest condolences on behalf, certainly on behalf of my family and I. I also want to say to Naya, get well. I honestly didn't realize that he was in the hospital. I want to say to him, I hope that he will get well very soon. And I think also that Naya is also perhaps facing a double whammy. He has lost his mom recently, Miss Eunice Liebert. And I want to take this opportunity to offer my condolences to the entire family, Naya, Conrad, sister, the entire family, Liebert family there. And I know Naya would have recently lost his dad, so they are in the mourning column once again. Webbo, we have had some very tragic incidences here in the Federation. We have lost a young individual here from Stony Grove, Devon Paris. I want to take this opportunity to offer my condolences to his parents, Elgett and Samuel Paris, better known to us as Libby, on the loss of Devon. Also, in that very incident, we would have been horrified and dismayed over the loss of a 9-year-old, Jamani Smitten. And again, Webbo, terrible circumstances, awful situation, and that particular situation have had me restless for the last few days and prompt me to, pen something. I want to say to Delissa and Jason on the loss of 9-year-old Jamani how saddened we are this tragic and senseless incident. It is unbecoming of us when we are now murdering our children. It is something that is weighing very heavily on my heart as an individual to see that something like this is happening here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I also want to offer my condolences, Webbo, to Primo, Jerome and Brenda on the loss of Darren Williams, another tragic and violent incident here that took place in Kodakode recently. Webbo, these are incidents that is taking place in our Federation, and it is, in my mind, much cause for concern. Actually, it's past the point of being concerned. This is something that I feel that we need to come together as a community, as a nation, and see how best we can arrest the situation. To have 25 murders thus far in the year is not a good thing for St. Kitts and Nevis, and it is something that I'm hoping that we all can contribute to in terms of bringing a resolution to. Well, but I also want to, we have also seen the loss of a rising star here in the Federation, IMAC, again, to tragic circumstances. And these are incidences, Webbo, that I feel that is leaving a very dark stain on the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Yesterday we would have laid to rest the late Rubelet Otterton from here, right here from Bath. Quiet, unassuming lady who I believe would have, in her own quiet and unassuming way, Webbo, contributed to the development of the island of Nevis. And I want to say to her family as well how saddened we are. And I hope that all of these families, Webbo, and all other families who are in mourning tonight here in the Federation can find some peace and comfort despite their terrible, terrible and sad ordeal that they are going through at this moment. Well, but I want to turn very quickly to a bit more happier news. Roger mentioned it in terms of the results from our children. My daughter today showed me on her computer that she did 6 CAPE subjects, and she would have passed all 6 of them. I want to say congratulations to her. I know she is querying already one of them, so I guess we will see how that one pans out. But I want to say congratulations to Chevenet Brand We are extremely, extremely proud of her. I know last couple of days she was very anxious, and but I think that we knew that based on the hard work that she would have put in, she would have been successful, and I really want to say congratulations to her. I want to say congratulations, Webbo, to all of the students who would have sat exams, both in the primary school and in the high schools and sixth form here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And all who have been successful, I hope that they can continue on this journey. And to those, Webbo, who have not been as successful as they would have wanted, it is not the end of the road. There is always another opportunity. I believe our system offers them that opportunity to take an exam again, and I hope that whenever they do, that they will be successful at this time. I want to thank our teachers, our hard-working teachers, who oftentimes go beyond the call of duty. I want to say how thankful I am and how we are for their continued hard work and dedication to the development of our children. Our education officials, certainly want to thank them. I know that everything is not perfect. There are some areas of concern in our education system that I believe we will continue to work on. But I really want to say to them tonight how thankful we are, to all of the teachers, to all of the persons who would have supported our children in sitting their exam and in preparations for the exam. We are indeed thankful and grateful for their contribution to the development and the growth of our children. Well, but I want to also join with Roger in offering congratulations to our Premier, Dr. the Honorable Mark Brantley, and his wife, Sharon Brantley, and the entire family on their 30th anniversary of wedding. Roger said he's now an adult, but I'm not too far behind the Premier. I think next year I'll be making 25 years. So I want to congratulate the Premier and his wife for celebrating their 30th anniversary. I certainly want to wish them many, many more wonderful years, certainly with God's richest blessing, as they continue to be good examples here for us on the island of Nevis. Webbo, I want to say hello to the one and the only Theodore Ted Hobson tonight. I saw him I think about a week and a half ago, and he is still trotting. He is still in fine form. I believe that based on what I saw and in conversation with him, he will certainly be around for some time yet. I also want to say a very good evening to Edric W. Stanley, wherever he is. I believe he might be listening. I hope that he is doing well, and I certainly want to wish him a wonderful evening. Webbo, thank you for the invitation, and I am indeed grateful to be here tonight to join with Roger, your listeners, and yourself for this show.
What we got?
Well, Webbo, we just celebrated the 50th anniversary of Rama. We had lots of persons, returning nationals and visitors, who came and witnessed this 50th anniversary. I think that it was a good Rama, Webbo. I want to say congratulations to all of the winners, the junior Calypso Monarch, Mighty Dre, out of St. Kitts. He came across, I think, for the first time and competed and dethroned Princess Nevia. Congratulations to him and all of the other winners. The Mr. Cool, I think it's Mr. Rollins, congratulations. And the swimsuit winner, I think that name is eluding me, but congratulations. And to all of the winners, I want to say a special congratulations to the King Astro. We put up a good fight. That's the King Hollywood, and he dethroned the King Hollywood, and I want to say congratulations to him and to all of the other winners, and to Lady Destiny. I think this is the first time she would have placed, and she placed first runner-up. Congratulations to you, and of course congratulations to the King This and That, Mr. Consistency himself. He would have placed second runner-up in the said Calypso show. So I think that, all in all, I didn't get an opportunity to go to the food fair, but I understand that it was a really good one. It was a successful food fair. And of course, the Juve, I took part in that. I was given a little spots for, of course, the Eastern Caribbean only powerhouse for on radio, and it was really good. We had two bands, coming from Gingerland, the core band and the Casanova. I think the Casanova, captured the road march title, and I want to say congratulations to them there. They were on the back burner, so to speak, for a number of years, and they came back this year with a bang and was able to capture the road march crown. I also want to say congratulations to Easy and the Odyssey band. I think that they are the ones who won the SL Hosford's and VON Radio Song Contest. So congratulations, Kenny and the group. And to all other winners, Webbo, I say congratulations. I just want to maybe pause, for now. I don't know if Brian want to speak to, Culture Man, what it was to him.
Well, I want to join with Roger and congratulate all of the winners, but I want to look at Culture Rama from a different perspective. This year marks our 50th anniversary of Culture Rama, and I thought, Webbo, that the preparation for Culture Rama 50 was one that I thought was worthy of the celebration of Culture Rama 50. I believe that the facelift that was given to both venues and throughout the island generally, I thought that the idea was to not only celebrate our 50th anniversary of Culture Rama, but also to celebrate what was dubbed as a homecoming. And Webbo, I would say to you that there were quite a number of Nivisions, nationals, who returned home for Culture Rama 50. Roger said he did not attend the food fair, Webbo, but I attended the food fair. And I'm telling you, Webbo, we thought that the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park was an adequate size for the expected turnout of the food fair. And I was finding it difficult to find space to walk at the Malcolm Gishard Park. Everywhere you turn, Webbo, there were a number of returning national and visitors. It says to me, Webbo, that the appeal that was made for Nivisions and visitors to return home and to participate and to experience Nivis, after some of whom have been here for over 20, 30 years. I believe that it was an event, Webbo, worthy. I want to say, Webbo, that listening to many of these persons, and even right outside the summit, remember we had that summit right here as well, number of Nivisions, number of nationals. And one of the things, Webbo, that keep jumping out at me was that many of these persons in my conversation with them keep saying that Nevis has been transformed. They have seen certain things that has took place, certain developments, certain improvements. And I felt, Webbo, that their appreciation of what they saw, of what they experienced, and how they would have viewed their country while they returned home was very much welcome and certainly warmed my heart. I want to say, Webbo, that while we would have made the effort to, quote unquote, as it were, spruce up the venue and spruce up the country for C50, I want to say to our people that these venues and the things that we sought to do generally, we should always try and take care of them. We should cherish them, and we should try and make sure, Webbo, that they can last for many, many more years. I think that oftentimes we have these facilities and they are vandalized, they are not taken care of in the best way that I think that they can be. And I feel, Webbo, that the effort that was made for Culture Rama 50, we just need to cherish it. I want to congratulate, Webbo, all of the organizers, the chairman, the minister, the the entire team, because I know that they really set a very high bar for Culture Rama 50. Did everything go according to plan? Absolutely not. We knew that there were some hiccups here and there. There were some issues, and I felt that Webbo, that while certain things occurred during the throughout the festival, I thought that the execution and the hard work and the dedication by all those involved are deeply appreciated. To the winners, I think that their efforts on the night that they would have participated is well noted, is well documented. I think that the sponsors for Culture Rama 50 would have come on board in a significant way. And I think that the effort that was made by all of the participants, from the schools to the seasoned veterans, they did a remarkable job. I also want to congratulate Von Radio for being, in my mind, one of those voices in ensuring that Culture Rama 50 was broadcast globally. And I think that the team that was put together for Culture Rama 50 here at Von Radio, I know that they went back a number of years to find some of those individuals. When I listened to Colin Archibald, I said, wow. And I thought that it was very, very wonderful to hear some of those voices back on the only powerhouse. So Webbo, I want to congratulate you as well, and the entire team here at Von Radio, all those past employees who would have responded, I believe, to your request to join the team. I think that they did a remarkable job in ensuring that all hands were on deck, so to speak, to ensure that Culture Rama 50 was successful. Some would have not had the outcome that they would have liked in terms of some of the events, the participation, the competition, and I hope that they can just redouble their efforts next time around, and I am certain that they would have the kind of results that they are looking for.
Webbo, if you just permit me, you'd have been remiss of me if I didn't mention, the legend Calypso tent that was put on by, Von Radio. I think that, it was highly anticipated and it lived up to expectation. The Calypsonians, they put on a wonderful display of talent, of singing, and all who were present, Webbo, I think, really showed love and appreciation to those Calypsonians. To see Zumba and Beholder and those guys from yesteryear, who came and sang their hearts out and performed so well. One of my favorite on the night, Webbo, was Bingy, Jam Bouncer. I think he won the Monarch back in 1987 with Jam Bouncer, and he really put down that song splendidly, Webbo. And persons, I was there in person, Webbo, and persons exiting, I asked as many persons as possible if they enjoyed the show, and everybody said they enjoyed the show, Webbo. It was a really wonderful show, and I want to say congratulations to you and your team, Webbo, for putting on such a wonderful and thoughtful, show, Webbo. Webbo, I was able to attend the Herbert speech affair, Webbo, and I can't recall, Webbo, from since the inception of the Herbert speech affair, if I ever saw so many persons on Herbert speech, Webbo. Webbo, the Honorable Minister spoke of the food fair and space, hardly any space to walk, and it was just the same at Herbert speech. Vehicles were parked all the way up on the main road, and those who know Herbert's Beach area, vehicles were parked sorry, beyond the Seventh-day Adventist Church, go up and go right back past Nisbets and all down on the beach on either side, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful, to behold such a spectacular Webbo. People went out there, they enjoyed themselves, and I want to say congratulations to us, the people, the patrons, who went out and, behave ourselves. I don't think that there were any major incidences or anything, accidents or anything of that sort. I also want to say congratulations to the government and of course the law enforcement personnel who went out and worked tirelessly. It's sometimes with these type of activities, Webbo, we don't really understand how the law enforcement personnel, the number of hours that they put in. Sometimes they have to come off duty like 2-3 o'clock and come back on at maybe 8 or 7 in the morning, and they continue again. So I want to say congratulations to all who were involved, the government, the people, the administration of the culture Rama, Abernathy and his team, yourself, Webbo, and your team for the Legends Calypso show that was held at the 869 bar. I think that it was really lovely, Webbo, again. So I just thought that I should say that.
Webbo, I completely omitted the Herbert Beach affair, and I want to forgive me for that. I was there in the earlies, and I noticed that the crowd was building very rapidly. I want to, Webbo, congratulate, I believe it was the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, who was one of the main organizers of that event. I really want to congratulate him for the effort and for ensuring that that particular event was not only a fixture on C50, but for it to have been executed in the way in which it was. From all reports as well, that was an event that was highly successful in terms of the organization and in terms of the output of it. So I want to congratulate the Honorable Alexis Jeffers and his team, because I believe that he would have had a competent team in ensuring that that event was successful. Webbo, I too attended the Legends 10, and what I realized, Webbo, was we almost could have had 2 Calypso finals. We almost could, well, not almost, we could have had 2 Calypso finals. The level of that Legend show, the standard of it was one that I went, well, let me put a caveat. I am a lover of Calypso. So I went out of more curiosity than anything else, and I listened to Zumbai and Bahola and Bingi. There was someone else who I missed, but Webbo, the Jojo, those guys, Webbo, some who may have been out of the competition, out of the arena for 10-15 years, I believe that if they were to put in a bit more practice and get their voice, 1 or 2 may have had a little challenges with their voice and so on and so forth, but I think that if we could have had a second Calypso final from what I saw at that Legend show, I want to say congratulations to the organizers and to all of those Calypso. I think that the idea behind that show was to remind all of us that this thing started long time ago, and the Legends would have shown us that, hey, they may be off the stage but they still have it. Zumbai was, in my mind, I think, the cream of the crop. Listening to him and watching his movements, still I say, Zumbai was if he never really left the stage.
He was just,
Zumbai went to that Legend show as if, listen, this is final night and I am here to do something great. All of the other Calypsonians, Roger spoke about Bingi. You know, Bingi is always in that frame of mind for competition night. So even if it's a Calypso tent or a Legend tent, Bingi is going to bring it. So I want to congratulate all of those. The band, the musicians, I want to say congratulations to them. I am not sure how much time that they had to prepare, but I think that they did a remarkable job trying to dust off some of these music that is 10, 20, 30 years old, and I think that they did a phenomenal job. Well, I also want to congratulate two government entities, NEVLEC and the Nevis Water Department. And there's a particular reason why I'm going to do it. During the Culturama 50 celebration, we knew that quite a number of persons would have been here on the island of Nevis. And we expected, Webbo, that there would be added stress, of course, on the system. We expected the consumption of electricity would have increased, and we expected that the consumption of water would have also increased. And I want to congratulate these two entities in particular, because I think throughout the entire Culturama season, from start to finish, that they were able to ensure that the entire island had electricity and water was in every single community here on the island of Nevis. Of course, we have had our challenges during the drought period, and we know that whenever there is a cessation of rainfall, it could create some challenge for us. But I want to congratulate these two entities. I think that they need to take a bow. I believe that the way in which that they manage the extra stress, so to speak, and the extra consumption, I don't think that a lot of people really notice that was happening. NEVLEC, Nevis Water Department, I want to say thanks to them.
Webbo,
Fifield, before you continue, let me just say good night to Ted Hobson. Ted, wherever you are, and we got you. No, I practice not saying a lot of words, but a few words that people remember what I said. So Ted, we got you. Edric, we got you.
Yeah.
Edric Stanley. And by the way, Edric, if you can call in, I'll give you some minutes and you can make your statement just like Brandon and Fifield did, so you can do it that way for this evening. And then I also want to say a special shout out to some of the folks that you all mentioned, including the past team. This was not no accidents. This was a deliberate strategy. That's what we do. Okay. Around here we don't say that staff. We say the powerhouse team, right? And that's who we are. And those, we had persons who were from the first team.
Yes, I noticed.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like I said, the only thing I would say, those guys are good.
Yes.
I mean, real good, right? And I'm so proud of them and the work that they did before and the work that they still do, right? Larine and Colin and, well, some of them were virtual, Tuvier and Randy, and stuff, and mixed with the guys that we have here and so. And the only thing I can tell you all is more to come. So we appreciate the comments that people make and showed us where we can do other stuff and so. But again, that's what we do. Around here, we ain't boasting or anything, but that's what we do. So I don't know why people are surprised. Those guys are good.
Yes.
You put them to do certain things, that's what they do. So I just want to let them know how pleased we are with them, in delivering the work. Everything that you do has an inside story. And those guys have been doing what they have done all these years. And it's not that you don't have challenges. But I find that if you take up the time just complaining, you're not going to get the work done at that level. So we just do what we got to do. And the finished touch playground, I mean, that's the best part for me. I was telling Mr. Lescott, we were talking about it yesterday, and the part about it, that I really like, is that a lady calls in, went on the air and answered the question. Well, she spoke, and I asked her, what is that? She said the answer. I said, what's the question?
So she gave the answer before you asked the question?
She was so excited about the playground. She called in, gave the answer, and did not realize that she didn't hear the question. The question was not. That to me is fascinating. And so when I asked her, well, so what is the question? She laughed her way off the phone. And that to me, it was so the playground was, something else. He said, that out of style. Water pipe and so don't cool down heat now. AC, air conditioned unit. But coming to the part that I really like. Lady calls in and she said, tell that singer that we done gone past that long time. Mr. Banner said, why does everybody want to use me to carry out their message?
You're a good sport.
Oh, okay.
You're a good sport.
She repeat the same thing. Tell that singer we done past that long time. The place is small. Anyway, so that's the two great fun I had about it. The playground. And so we want to thank all the sponsors and stuff like that. We want to thank the staff and all that in terms of, what we did here. And all I can say again, and this is deep, that's what we do. That's what we can do. Go ahead, Roger. That's the time I wanted.
Well, I just want to kind of, segue from culture a bit and, speak to, there was a storm, Ernesto, I think it was, that passed last week, Tuesday, a week ago. I think I'm correct in saying that. Yes, and, I think that we must first give thanks and praise to God Almighty for sparing us. I don't think that I can recall hearing of any damages to property, apart from maybe some banana trees and some fruit trees might have fallen, because of the wind. I think that Webbo, we are resilient people. I believe that we take these type of things seriously, and we were able to, go through it, the passage of the storm Honester, in a good way. Webbo, I read somewhere that we, Little Nevis, were able to send 4 linesmen off to, I think it might have been St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I believe, and it makes me feel so proud. It's so good, to know that Little Nevis can send persons to other islands to help with the restoration of their island, and I can recall back in '89 the passage of Hurricane Hugo, when a number of persons from other islands came to help us as a youngster growing up, and I wanted the current to come back, Webbo, because in those times, wrestling was the big thing, and I wanted to see wrestling, and for us as Nevisians now, are able to send persons out there, it really makes me feel good. Some of the youngsters, I think I know maybe 1 or 2 of the 4, and I want to say may God be with them. I hope that they are safe, to be on lines and stuff like that. Anything could happen, and I really hope and pray that they would be safe, and not just them, but the other persons who are working alongside them, Webbo.
Webbo, I want to join with Roger for highlighting the fact that we would have experienced a tropical storm last week. Webbo, I took a little time off, a little personal time. Spent a few days in St. Martin and went over to Anguilla. And I drove the length and breadth of St. Martin, actually right around the entire island. And I also did similar to Anguilla. Well, you can't really drive around the island of Anguilla. You go from east to west or west to east, just to observe and to see what would have taken place there and what is taking place there on those 2 islands. Here on the island of Nevis, we would have experienced that tropical storm. We would have had minimal damage, 1 or 2 walls, some damage in the agriculture sector with certain type of crops. 1 or 2 areas that Nevlik would have had minimal damage in, and within a very short period of time they were back up. But Webbo, while I was in Anguilla on Friday, a Nevisian in Anguilla showed me a picture of 2 banana trees planted in the middle of the road. And I said to myself, how could our people seek to, as it were, perpetuate and denigrate our island like this? And Webbo, the picture was shown to me by a Nevisian in Anguilla. And I've always said to people that where things start, no there they end. That particular Nevisian in Anguilla was disgusted, was upset, was furious to see that here in their country that people are willing to, for whatever reason, try and denigrate their country like this. And I observed the individual, Webbo, and I have listened and I have looked at some of the comments recently, last day or so, 2 days, about these 2 banana trees being planted in the middle of the road. Here it is, Webbo. We as a small island is trying to market to the world that Nevis is nice. Here it is, Webbo, that we as a tourism state trying to say to the world that we must come to Nevis and enjoy Nevis and enjoy all that we have to offer. Here it is that we would have just concluded the 50th anniversary of our culture, Rama. And from all reports, even from the harshest of critics, said that Culturama was awesome. And for whatever mischievous reason, for whatever misguided and unfounded and unwarranted individual decided, after the storm, decided to plant 2 banana trees in the middle of the road. However, I want to say here tonight, from the rostrum of Van Radio, that whoever that individual is, I am extremely disappointed in that individual. I want to say to that individual that they need a lesson in patriotism and understand what patriotism is all about. Because, like I said, Webbo, I drove the entire island of St. Martin, on the Dutch side and on the French side. As a matter of fact, they were down there having another election. Not even sure who won the election yet. Another election within a 6 months period, within a year. I drove Anguilla. And the feeling in Anguilla is that the ordinary Anguillan are telling you, hey, we love Anguilla, we cherish our Anguilla, we are patriotic in our country. I want our people to become more patriotic. I want our people to love their country more. I want our people to appreciate and to understand that they must not only love their country when their political party is in power or in government. And I want to say, Webbo, that whomever would have done that, shame on them. Because we as a small island are trying to promote our country. We are trying to lift our country. We are trying to say to the world that we have something unique and special to offer to the world. Come and experience it. And I thought that that individual who may have been misguided for whatever reason would have done something like that to prove whatever point they were trying to prove. Shame on them.
Webbo, I saw the banana trees too on social media, and one or two things came to mind, Webbo. I can't recall before the storm that those potholes were there. I stand to be corrected, but I can't recall that those, they might have been there before and they were patched. But we would have had a storm, heavy rains and winds. And, you know, I believe that might have been the cause, you know, for the potholes. Webbo, one of the things too, because I know a friend and I, we had a conversation about that, and in terms of the potholes, and I would have traveled, you know, in time gone by, and I recognize every island, every country that I go to, they have potholes. Even the great United States of America, they have potholes. I'm not asking, I am telling you. But one of the things, come back to my main point, one of the things that we discussed is that tar is not like concrete. Meaning, whereas you could probably mix a bucket of concrete to put in or to fill in a hole, you may have to mix what we may call a batch of tar. And the question is, when we see potholes, of course, we don't want our vehicles to fall in them. We want the best care for our vehicles. But when we see potholes, 1 or 2 potholes, does it warrant, turning on the mixer to mix a batch of tar to maybe fix 2 or 3 potholes? Then the question would be, what do we do with the balance, the rest of the tar? And bearing in mind, it may have, let's say, a pothole, let's say in Zion, one in Castle, maybe one in Charlestown, or wherever. After a while, after a certain period of time, the tar would get hard and probably stuck in the chuck that is transporting the tar. So I want to believe that the tar would have to come out of the chuck in a timely manner. And somebody probably who know more than I do could probably maybe enlighten us. But in my, from what I see, from what I recognize, that is how I look at it. And as Minister Brand rightfully said, what are we portraying to the outer world? What light do we want the outer world to see us as? Someone maybe surfing the internet, want to come to the Caribbean. Maybe they would have heard about Nevis. Maybe they never heard about Nevis, and they come across the island of Nevis and they recognize, yes, Nevis has lovely beaches. Nevis have beautiful people, and they probably see these potholes and these trees. And then the thing about it, a few hours later, they were blown up. They were blown up to now have bananas, on them. So someone seeing that, they would think that, hey, these things, are there for, I think banana is 9 months, I believe. However long banana take to, to come from zero to maturity.
Less than that.
Less than that. Well, of course, I'm subjected to correction. But, these are the things that I am saying, Webbo. We, as I join with Mr. Brand, we need to be more patriotic. We need to love our country. It doesn't matter. I just thought that I would say that.
Well, let's just say he's not aware about the asphalt mix, but I think that he did a pretty good job of explaining the whole process. We also have the dry mix asphalt that we can use, but for some reason they don't really stand up for any length of time. That's why we try to, as far as possible, to try and stay away from them. Webbo, like I said, I was in St. Martin for a few days, and do the people of Nevis know that in St. Martin there is an energy crisis in St. Martin, where electricity is being turned off for 3 hours a day, in the morning, afternoon. I was at a particular establishment one evening to get something to eat, and there was no electricity. The establishment literally had to serve their patron using these portable lights and so on. And I dare saying to myself, which establishment in Nevis can deal with their customer in this particular way? I was also, Webbo, at another establishment, a massive establishment there. And it was about 4 o'clock, minutes to 4. Many shoppers in the establishment. And then I hear over the intercom, the business is closed. People need to get out of the store because what? Electricity is going to be going off shortly. And again, Webbo, I marvel. And I want our people to understand and appreciate what we have here on the island of Nevis. I am not here to say that everything is perfect. I am not here to say that we are not having any issues or any challenges. Of course we are. We are having issues with crime. We are having some challenges based on certain time of the year with water. Navlik have their challenges. Spoke about the tropical storm that passed. We will have these challenges from time to time. But I want our people to understand and to appreciate that, hey, Nevis is what we have. It is all that we have. And we must cherish it. We must love it. We must not try to be so quick to denigrate it because of whatever political persuasion we have. But I'm saying to our people that we must appreciate what we have. Because as close to our neighbors, they are having even greater challenges than we are. And if people can appreciate what we have and understand what we have and what it is that we are trying to do here, whether it's one political party in government or the other, we must be willing and prepared to appreciate and love our country. And that is the point that I want to get across to our people. Sometimes I marvel sometimes at the kind of things that people would say about this little gem that we have called Nevis. And they claim that they love the Nevis. They claim that they want to be in a position to be the decision makers in this country, but yet every opportunity that they have, they're denigrating their country. They are trying to create embarrassment to somebody. Love your country. That is what I want our people to do. We can have that conversation about policies and how we are doing things and whether we are doing things it right and proper and in order. Those are the kind of conversation, as we would say here, as Webbo would say here, an honest debate. But let us not be so quick to destroy and denigrate what it is that we are trying to build here on the island of Nevis.
Webbo, as ministers, spoke to denigration and stuff like that, and I add in love. There's an old saying, old adage that charity starts at home, and I believe if we are to show love at home in the first instance, acceptance at home, I think it would spill over into our schools, into our business houses, our workplaces. Webbo, I listened to the news sometime recently, to my dismay, that there is 25 homicides in the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis, Webbo. We are in just past the middle of August, the 8th month, 12 months in a year. And if we were to remain on this path, then all I can say is that we are heading for a record. A dubious record that we really do not need at this point in time. Webbo, some time ago, a young lad, 9 years old, was gunned down, what appears to be execution style. And I don't know if I'm not listening or viewing the various media houses, the various social medias. But if there is, I don't think that the cry is loud enough, that the cry has spread enough, the outcry. Why are we killing children? I mean, I don't want someone to understand me to say that it is not okay to kill children but okay to kill adults. It is not okay to kill anyone. And I want our government, I want our people, our Christian minded personnel, the Christian society, the evangelical society, I want all of us to come together. I want us to speak out as one. I listened to the Honorable Mark Brantley last week, Wednesday might have been, and he's so correct. Those who are killing us comes from among us. They are our, I'm just basically echoing the same words as Brantley. They are our brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles. They are our family. And I want to believe some of these persons who are killing others, they are killing their family and they don't even know. They are killing their blood. I believe that it is time for us as a people to hit the road. We need to let our voice be heard in whatever form. If we have to go with placards and we demonstrate, because when we demonstrate, Webbo, we are not demonstrating only so that the politicians could see us demonstrating. But when we demonstrate, we are demonstrating so that the rest of society and those vagabonds can see us uniting and uniting for a common goal, and that is to eradicate these senseless murders in our Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis. It is time we are civilized people. Why do we have to kill? What does it prove? How do we sleep at night? I believe also, Webbo, that it is time for our government to give the law enforcement personnel, including the customs, the necessary tools and equipment for those that are tasked in protecting our borders, so that they could work smarter and not necessarily harder. We know that it could be challenging because our borders are open, our borders are porous. But at least let us look and see where we can put high-tech scanners. Let us look. I think some time ago there was a talk that there might have been a base, a Coast Guard sub-base in Nevis. I don't know if that would have fallen through the cracks. We probably need to do more patrols of our borders. We would not be able to stop everything, but at least if we do systematic patrols, at least persons out there, they would know that patrols have been done, and they would also know that the probability of them being caught would definitely increase. So I want to make this appeal to our governments, both locally and at the federal level, because a train is as strong as its weakest link, and we are two little islands, one federation, one country, and we have to protect the borders of St. Kitts and Nevis, and not just necessarily Nevis or just St. Kitts, but both islands. We need to be forward thinkers. We can't, because what, in my humble opinion, the quote-unquote bad boys, they're outsmarting us, you know. They are outsmarting us. And why are they outsmarting us? Are we, who are law-abiding citizens, do not try to think outside the box just like they do? You know, why are we not trying to be proactive instead of reactive? You know, these are questions, these are hard questions we need to ask ourselves. And I am not just saying this, as I said, for the government, but for each of us. Whether we are parents, we are brother, we are sister, we are cousin. Let us get the message out that it's time to take back our land. One murder is one too much. And I believe that if we work together, we can overcome, and we can hold hand in hand and say, yes, we have overcome and put these senseless murders and killings once and for all to rest.
But I want to support all that Raja would have just indicated. Like I said, this particular issue have been tearing me apart for a few days now. I decided to pen something this morning, and I agree, Roger, that one, our borders are extremely porous, extremely porous. That is an area that I feel that we have to do better on. I agree that our law enforcement need to be better equipped. But I think one of the greatest difficulty that we are having here in St. Kitts and Nevis is the lack of information that is coming to solve some of these crimes. Is it that the community that we are in don't trust the police? Is it that they don't trust our legal system? Is it that there is that high level of fear that if they feel that they were to share any information that they themselves could? And I think that is one of the main obstacles in my mind that is creating and having this particular issue lingering for these many years. The lack of information, credible information, funneling to the right authorities and funneling to the proper authorities. I know that they would have created these unanimous hotlines and tip lines and so on. But the information to solve these particular crimes, particular murders, seem not to be forthcoming. I also believe, Roger, that our mindset in terms of these continuous murders is also one that is of concern to me. Is it that now that we are becoming so numb to these continuous and ongoing situations, that you spoke about persons are not speaking up, and certain organizations, we are not hearing from them and things like that? Is it that our community has become so accustomed, it has now become part of our psyche that, you know? But I think, Roger, that you are absolutely correct. One murder is one murder too much. And I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that as a people, we have to begin to develop that love of country, that patriotism in every single thing we do and in everything that we say. And it baffles me that we have a 9-year-old child that has been murdered. We have seen riots in many streets. We have seen where people would have rise up over situations like these. And I am saying that this needs to stop. We cannot continue to be killing our young men and our young women in the streets as if there is no value to them. That ought not to be a part of who we are. We need to make that transition. Yes, we will have differences of opinion, and we will have arguments, and we will have fights, and we will disagree. But I don't think to the extent that makes us judge, jury, and executioner over other people's life, over the life of a child. I believe, Roger, that the time has long passed where the heavy hand sometimes it takes some radical approach, and persons may not like it, but we have a problem, and the problem needs to be fixed.
Who's going to fix it, Mr. Brown?
All of us.
When?
Webbo, that's what I'm saying. The time has long passed when this issue. I have been on this radio show now for how many years? I've lost count, Webbo. And this continues to be an issue. Is it that there is not a will and a desire to get this issue behind us? All of us, Webbo, need to play a part in fixing this.
Webbo, I think this topic is such an important one for all of us that just for a moment we could have hear a pin drop. as Minister Brand indicated, it's need to be fixed since yesterday. And it takes all of us, to do it. One of the things that I know we boast about is CCTV cameras. I am not sure how effective they are, and I'm being honest. I really don't know. Or is it that those who are carrying out these heinous acts, they know exactly where they are, and if they are working, and do they know how to elude them? I don't know. For quite a while, we have been saying that we have CC cameras, and I am not sure if those CC cameras would have provided us with any meaningful evidence to date. I stand to be corrected, but from my personal knowledge, I am really not sure. So we have to look at this thing holistically. How can we move forward in terms of decreasing these crimes? Do we go back to the preschools, the primary schools? Do we change the curriculum? Do we teach more family values in the primary school and the high schools? Do we have persons coming in and speaking or having sessions with the students and let them know about the effects that could be brought to bear on persons who lose loved ones, mothers, fathers, other family members? Do we really understand the trauma that families go through? Do we? And if we do we want ourselves and our families to go through the said trauma? These are questions we need to ask ourselves as individuals. And if we have any compassion, if we have a heart, if we have any care, any concern, I believe that the answer should be no. I do not want anybody to go through. Some persons, they love to speak about revenge. And they love to quote scriptures when it suits them. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But the same Bible that they are quoting from also state, somewhere in it, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. So are we the Lord? To go out to seek vengeance? But we want to use the Bible when it suits us. I am saying we can't go on like this. our society is too small. Our society, I still believe, is closely knitted. And we need to stop. We need to stop. We need to be able to have a new lease on life. We need to be able to turn a new page and to be fruitful and productive individuals, and to be fruitful and productive collectively, so we can be fruitful and productive as an island, as a country. I don't know, maybe it's time to look at the judiciary in terms of making stiffer laws. You know, but then someone might argue, even if the laws are being stiffer, and we are still not catching the persons, then does it really make sense? Maybe we need to do some profiling. Maybe we need to do more stop and search. And yes, if the police were to stop me, maybe I'll get a bit angry, but then I should recognize, you know, the bigger picture. I should be able, you should be able to recognize the bigger picture, what, you know, we want to achieve as a society. And most of the times, you know, persons know who these persons might be. Let me put it that way. But to probably prove it in court, to take the matter further and to prove it in court, there lies the bottleneck. And maybe we need to look at maybe moving away from jurors and maybe having a judge or judges, you know, adjudicate over certain matters. You know, in they're, you know, taking our persons. Sometimes persons become real scared and probably don't want to quote unquote be involved. But whether we get involved directly or not, we're all involved indirectly. Whatever happens, you have a domino effect on us. It might be our friend's trial, our neighbor's trial, our cousin. You know, you have an effect on us somewhere. So we need to understand that as individuals, and I think that we need to start to speak out and speak up, so persons could understand when all of us speak out and speak up, because we are more than them, you know. We are more than them. They are in the minority, and if they realize that we are not surrendering and we are holding hands in hands and speaking up and speaking out, I believe that they are going to think again before they go and commit another crime.
I'm intrigued with the discussion because Mr. Brannett earlier make the point of he can't even remember how long, but he's been here a while, right? But the question is whether or not we haven't already passed the stage of this solution, or have we not ready yet to do the type of talk that will get result.
We have passed a very awful threshold, Webbo. And like I said, we have been at this for a while. You asked a very poignant question, and I want to put it probably slightly differently. Are we talking around the issue rather than having that conversation that would get the kind of result that we really need? I put it that way because, like I said, I've been here, 10 years? I've lost count, Webbo. To be honest, I've lost count. And this has been a topic ever so often here on this, around this table. I have sat next to heavyweights trying to raffle with this very issue. With Ted Hobson QC, Edric W. Stanley, Naya, yourself. Is it that they are not listening? Is it that the conversation is I don't believe that it's falling on deaf ears. Is it just that there is an inability or a lack of desire to fix this? Well, 9-year-old. We are executing children, 9-year-old.
Let me just get a break. This is Thought That Get Results. Roger Fifield, the Honorable Spencer Brand. Back right after these.
Builders Paradise is offering a large variety of floor and wall tiles at very competitive prices. Builders Paradise has over 2 million pieces in stock, lots of different styles to choose from. Whether you're renovating or tiling a new house, Builders Paradise has what you need. Wow! Oh, and remember, we're open all day Saturday to serve you better. This is something that you can't refuse. Visit Builders Paradise today at the C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Site in St. Kitts or call them at 466-4938.
With all the power from the tower, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, VON Radio, from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Back in this episode of Thought That Get Results, Roger Fifield, the Honorable Spencer Brand. You know, Mr. Brand, I'm just gonna segue a little. I had also in my notes here to thank you and the folks at Public Works for in time for the summit to fixing up the roadway. Much appreciated, and it helped in terms of lifting the area and stuff like that. It shows also how when a community comes together and do something together, do things together, how everybody can benefit. And to do these things and everybody working on the same page, and it feels good. And I tell people all the time that most, if not all, the stuff that we do around here, that's the way we do it. we try to get as many people in the community as we can to get involved and contribute. And that way, when people feel a part of something, it works. So I just wanted to mention that.
Well, thanks, Webbo. I think that is what we try to do. We try to assist as much as we can. As I said earlier, we do have a lot of requests. We have challenges here and there. We do have throughout the length and breadth of this beautiful island a number of things that we need to get done. Certain issues that is creating some consistent challenge for persons, and it is not that we are ignoring those requests. At times we try to ensure that we do what we can do. Sometimes perhaps may not be enough, but I think wherever we can assist and wherever we can respond to the various requests, we will do the very best that we can. Some of our requests are long-standing, and they are a bit more involved, but I think all in all, we as a department, I know that the guys are doing the very best that they can, and sometimes I think that the odd potholes here and there, people get a bit frustrated and angry and upset. I often say that we have come such a long way that things like those now become a major issue, a major bother. Public works, water, NEVLEC, you name it, health, education, tourism, all across the entire spectrum, food security, travel, you name it. There is still a lot of work that we have to do. There is still areas that we have to continue to pay constant attention to, but I think as a people we have come some ways. We still have some ways to go, and I hope that while we reflect on where we have come from and look at some of those things that we have to take care of, we will find some way of appreciating what it is that we have here as an island. And I would always say, Webbo, that I am old enough to see certain things here on the island of Nevis. I was born on the 6th of July 1970, and I would always say that I remember when I had to carry water on my head. And I try to explain that to my children, that if water goes off for a few minutes or a few hours, it is not the end of the world. Because when I was 8 and 9, I had to bucket water. It is not anything for us to be ashamed of. It is our history. It is where we have come from. And I think that once we are able to understand that and see where we are going, of course we will have our differences here and there. Of course we will look at things and say that this could be done differently or this could be done better. Those are conversations we can have. But I think all in all, Webbo, the requests continue to come, and we do our very best to respond the best we can. But I am at a point, Webbo, where I think that we have to preach that we need to love each other and appreciate each other. And what is happening, not a good feeling in terms of some of these careless and reckless actions in our country. I want to say to our people that sometimes when we step out of this 36 square miles, or if we on St. Kitts and we step off of that 68 square miles and we go other places, we see that we have a lot to be thankful for. We have a lot that we can appreciate, and we can make certain comparisons, and we can gauge ourselves and see that we are not necessarily doing so badly after all, but there are areas that we have to improve on. And I think that as a people, once we begin to understand and appreciate that, we will understand that this little island, this federation, that many of us, and I would hope that all right-thinking people love dearly, that in some areas, in many areas, we can do better. So, Webbo, thank you. I know that the team would have had their hands full doing quite a bit, like I said, in preparation for this 50th anniversary. I often wonder if we were working them to the grinds, really, in trying to ensure that certain things were in place. I believe that they did remarkably well, and that was just one component in the many requests that we were able to fulfill.
Roger, what else we got?
Well, Webbo, if we to maybe go internationally, I think that the race for the presidency in the United States of America is heating up. We now know that Kamala Harris, Vice President, is she would be on the ballot, for the Democratic Party, and of course on the public side we have Donald Trump, who is making a return. He's making a return. He was president, then he lost, and now he's making a comeback. And I think it's going to make for, very interesting. I believe that, before President Biden, step aside, so to speak, I believe that the Republicans, Donald Trump and the Republicans, had a particular plan of what I would call, for want of a better term, attack on the Democrats and Biden. But I think that it was a little surprising to them that Biden stepped aside. So now they have to, in my opinion, regroup and re-strategize and to come back. I believe that Kamala Harris has been gaining some ground, some momentum, and it is going to be a really interesting elections. In the last 12 to 8 years, I think we're having a female that could possibly become president of the United States. And this time around, not just a female, but a colored, female of color. So it's going to be interesting. The question is, do the residents and citizens of United States of America, are they ready to welcome a female president? Are they? Well, we know that they would have welcomed a president of color before in Barack Obama, but are they ready to embrace and welcome a president a female president, and not just a female president of color. Maybe Mr. Brand, as a politician, could probably weigh in more on this than I can, but I believe that it's going to be really interesting and a tight election in my opinion, Webbo.
Roger, you're doing fine. Webbo, the U.S. presidential race is shaping up very interestingly. I listened to a number of the presenters last evening, and this evening I believe that they will be having Obama and both Obamas and other quote-unquote heavyweights, so to speak, in terms of making the case for Kamala Harris. But it's the U.S. election is two campaigns of diverse and difference of vision. Donald Trump's position is almost all of the media houses have to be fact-checking him every time he utters some kind of statement. There is a lot of issues with him in terms of truthfulness. So that is something that, but I find that his utterances is still, the support for him is still 40+%. So it is something that I find very intriguing. The Donald Trump position seems to be that it's all gloom and doom if he's not elected, and I think that the Kamala Harris position is that a message of hope, trying to quote unquote give back Americans their freedom and a pathway to making America the kind of inclusive country that they know that it can be. So it's too political message of diverse views. I thought that she would have outlined her economic plan a few days ago, which I found very interesting in terms of offering first-time homeowners some $25,000 on the down payment. I think all of these are initiatives that are going to have some impact in the outcome of the election. But what I realize, Webbo, is that it is going to be a very close election. It is going to be a very close election. How close? I guess we will only know on the night or on the morning of the results. But it is still an election that most persons are still saying that it's going to be extremely close. My take on it is that I believe that the positions that Donald Trump has taken, one in his first campaign, two as president, and the second time around, to me it's kind of dangerous. Some of his rhetoric is creating some unease in some capitals around the world. I think that some of his positions are, in my mind, kind of not willing to extend the hand of friendship to the rest of the world, so to speak, and that for me is a concern. We here in these small island states in the Western Hemisphere do have some concern about some of the things that he is saying, and I feel that while we continue to wish that, of course, we would like to see that they have a free and fair election, and the person who gets the most vote become the president of the United States. I still believe that United States is still the greatest economic power in the world, and they have been at that level for many years. I still think that if they do sneeze, we here in these parts of the world will definitely catch that cold. So it is an election that I feel will have an impact on us here in St. Kitts and Nevis and throughout the region and throughout the world, really. I believe that at the end of it, whoever wins, we would, in my mind, hope that they can implement some of the policies that will really benefit the entire world. Because I think if Donald Trump, in his way of thinking, were to retrieve from the world, then we can see some chaos and confusion. And I think that while we try to ensure that there is that all-inclusive agenda globally, I think that the United States is the only power that really can help to maintain that stability in a lot of the countries around the world. So it is going to be a critical election, not only for the United States but for the rest of the world. And I hope that at the end of it, when the persons who becomes the next president of the United States, that we can see some benefit throughout the rest of the world. It shows also, Webbo, that the United States is a very divided country. It is, when you look at the polling, 45-46% for either side, 47%, along that lines. It shows that the US is a very divided country. And it is, in my mind, reflective of a lot of the other democracies around the world. A lot of the democracies around the world are also very much divided along those kind of percentage, 40-45%. And it shows, Webbo, that there is some kind of something that is happening with our democracies, where it is creating a lot of division. It is creating a lot of discord. I look back at the day when before I was born, really, when you hear that one political party had 80 or 90% support, 90+% support. Those days in my mind are long gone, and because now of that great division down the middle, 45-48%, it is creating a lot of challenges for many countries throughout the world. So we will wait for the outcome, and we would see who would be tipped for the presidency of the United States. And I believe that a lot of countries around the world is waiting with a bated breath.
Bran, maybe the narrow split in terms of percentage, maybe that is telling the government or the individuals, who form the government, probably sending them a message that, hey, you need to work, and you just not need to work for your political supporters, but you probably need to work for everyone. And if one wins an election, I think they should recognize such. And if they can go into government and they can show the populace that they are working for the masses, they are working for all, I believe that the electorate next time around would reward them. Maybe it's not so much as the country, so to speak, is splitting. Maybe some persons over the years, they for some reason they become undecided and not sure, where do I cast my vote this time around. And as I said, maybe persons running for elective office, I think that they should recognize this, and they should maybe strategize and say, well, why, this is what it is. how can I increase my lead the next time around, so to speak? What do I do? What I suggest should be done is as I said, is to work for all, on behalf of all. Let the masses see that, you as a government, and I'm not being specific here, I'm being general. You as a government, you are working on behalf of all. You have to show it. You have to, they have to feel it. They have to sense it. That they have to see it. And then next time around, I believe that gradually, not overnight, but gradually, the incumbent, would start to see some increase in on their particular side.
Well, Roger,
What I wanted to put in here, maybe you can turn it into a light moment, if you will, but Trump argues that he was going to challenge the Camilla on the basis that it's unconstitutional for her to take over from Biden. But you're laughing. What if he actually took it to court and then took it to the Supreme Court?
Well,
The current Supreme Court.
Well, I'm happy to put in that word between there. The current Supreme Court. That's a possibility, Webbo, that matter could ended up at the steps of the Supreme Court. What I find interesting, though, and intriguing is the issue that Donald Trump is having is that he would have basically based his entire campaign on fighting
Biden.
And it so happens that while the race, and while he would have worked out his entire strategy against Biden, here comes Biden's decision that, hey, it's not going to be me, it's going to be Kamala. Since Biden would have dropped out of the race, Webbo, I have seen in the United States a kind of energy towards her. And I feel that Donald Trump and his team is now wrestling with what can they do, or how can they deal with this. They have that option that you have just put on the table. Can we take this matter to the Supreme Court? If they does, we don't know what the outcome will be, and that could change this presidential race completely once again. It would be an interesting argument, and it would be an intriguing outcome to see what would happen if that were to be done.
But the question is, but then again, we almost anything goes with Donald Trump. But how would the people look at it at this stage? So close to a general election, taking this particular matter to the court.
Raja, anything is possible.
That is true.
Anything is possible.
Well, I guess just around the corner it's gonna be, so we definitely we would see, we would hear.
What about you think that that's the next card that he's gonna pull?
Who, Trump?
Yeah.
The next card he will pull is another January 6th. This thing is not a joke. When he had less to lose,
Wow.
what did he do?
Wow.
Now he has more to lose. What do you think will happen? And these people are more indoctrinized.
And they've learned from the last time.
They can get away with it. This thing is serious business, because if they don't have a plan to thwart that and a defense, the experts are telling you it's going to happen again.
Sadly.
When people feel that they have no other way out than the boxing. That's what happens.
And I believe that his hand was somewhat strengthened when he was given by the Supreme Court that he had immunity. So,
Wow.
You see, I've always wondered. They say that everybody is equal and stuff like that. I've always wondered why 2 or 3 people must lead a multitude to destruction. I don't want to say it so bluntly, but you know, you see what happened in the BVI with the case, and the premier, his thing, and the country keeps running. We've seen over the years that people come and go, and the country keeps on.
yes.
So why do people think that these people are indispensable? Well, this program repeats tomorrow at 10 o'clock following the VON News Minute. Join the Honorable Mark Brantley tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock for On the Mark. Join Keith Scarborough on Thursday evening right here in the Eastern Caribbean's Powerhouse for Government at Work. A place to spend all of your evenings right here in the Eastern Caribbean's Powerhouse. Thank you all again for joining us. This is your voice in the community, thought that get results. You all have a wonderful evening.
And opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its